Hi folks, thought I'd give you an up-to-date shop tour here. Got a bunch of old antique machines hanging around the shop, and they kind of come and go a lot, so thought it'd be a good time to take a little inventory and show you guys what's hanging around here about January 7th, 2021. Looks like we can start off with I think this is the newest tool to come into the shop. This is a Cincinnati Tool Master. I don't know anything about them. Picked this one up at another place I showed you the video of and put it in there, and just haven't had time to even wire it up and see if it runs. This is the only tooling that I got, along with that vise. Now somebody had said that a Cat 40 tool holder would fit in here, but my CNC machine uses Cat 40 and it's too short right here. The pull studs are on that. So this is actually a 40 National Machine Tool Builder taper. And looking up there, I noticed that somebody had taken the dogs off. But that's okay. If it stays around, I'm probably going to put an air tool holder up there. You can enlarge that hole and put a different drawbar. I think that would be a lot easier than the method of getting the wrench out and tightening it up from down here. But we'll see. I got to clean all this mess off so I can move the ways around. Had oil. It's got its little self-oiler there. It's a nice machine. I took that plate off right there, thinking that the electrics were right there. I was kind of shocked when I spent all the time getting the plate off, finding the right screws and everything. There's nothing there. They tricked me. When in actuality, all the electrics are down here. Very nice laid out, kind of old school. Brown and Sharp did a lot of tools like this. There's this coolant pump down there. It's got 3 motors. That's the X-axis feed. And then it's got its motor up here. And then the coolant. This is the main control panel. On and off. You turn the spindle on up by the head. But your coolant and your table feed are fed from there. It's blue. Did you notice that? How do I always get stuck with blue tools? I guess this is the next newest tool. It's an Axelson 1957 model. It's a 20-inch with a 10-foot bed. This was working on a machine shop floor the day I bought it. They didn't even clean off the chips. Loaded it on my truck and away we went. Got a bunch of tooling with it. All those tooling blocks. Some soft spacers for your chucks. Boring bars. Spacers. Centering nose combs. Another 4-jaw and a steady rest. I have never had a steady rest for my Axelson lathes. That's the part I'm most excited about. Got an old light I'm going to mount on it. Made a jib crane for it. So chucks get heavy. Let's see. There's the 4-jaw back there for it. That's a 20-inch. They are heavy. Not only that, the tooling gets heavy. These are all the tools that I've been using lately on it. down there. Those are some 6-inch solids that I bought and cut off. They're going to replace those gray colored ones down there. Those came off of my old 16 Axelson. I put them underneath this one to get it up. I'm just too dadgum tall, or these lathes are too short. I've always had a problem when you grab this clutch here. It's down low, it hurts your back and you hit your knuckles on things. So I've always put them up on risers. So those 12, I figured Don would get a kick out of learning how to face and play around with those. Can't hurt them and get some good education out of it. What else we got hanging around? Here's an old Brown and Sharp grinder. Friend Miles made me a new belt for it. We got to snake it through there and get it going pretty soon. I did get my transformer back from him. Mounted it up there. It's all wired up, ready to go. Put the belt on it. And what else we got to do? Oh, got my HTP Invertig sitting in here. Down on the floor is the end cap for this bed. When I first got this machine, I was making sure everything was clean, and I was trying to get the bed off. Nobody ever told me they don't put stops on these things. It crashed to the ground and snapped that off. It's not a functional piece, and I've toyed with screwing it back on or whatever, but I think what I'm going to do is I've got some of this easy TIG wire for cast iron, and you don't have to preheat and you don't have to post heat. It's worked amazing so far for the things I've used it for. So what I'm going to do is hold that up and just start tacking it in place, trying to keep as much heat as I can out of the rest of the bed. That part out there is not functional. It doesn't ride on anything, so it could be a little twisted, I think, not hurt a thing. It's more to cover the ways when it's in the far position over there. Oh, there's a 4-foot cast iron straight edge that Richard gave me 2 or 3 years ago. It's all painted and plain. I just haven't had time to scrape it. It's a heavy monster. I don't really want to. Oh, aren't these cute? These are what they sell tooling in. Pardon the noise, that's the fan coming on. I've got some tooling came in it. As I said, I don't have a thing for that mill, so I ordered up 9 tool holders for it. They came in those cute little plastic bucks. Hate to throw them away, but I don't really know what good they'd be for. This is a Monarch 10EE. I call it the flower pot holder. I tried using the coolant to keep my wife's fires alive while they were in here, but killed it, so she won't let me have any more flowers. This one my friend Andy bought at an auction, sight unseen. He's put probably close to $6,000 into this by the time he bought it and moved it around. It was crashed. That spindle has been ground on the outside so much that these chucks won't fit on it. It's too short now. And so this one they had sticking on there and put foil tape to take up the space. The measured run out on that spindle on the inside taper is 4/1000ths of an inch. The spindle's bent, and I can only imagine what it's done to those very expensive precision bearings. Andy works on it once in a while when he comes over. Gonna have to see what we're gonna do. I've got to move it again to get that mill down here. Told him if it moved it again, it'd be mine. More on this in a little bit. I got a few of Richard King's straight edges sitting here ready to be planed. Anybody buys them, I'll plane them and send it to you. I don't think I've shown you much of this one. This is my Bridgeport Torque Cut 22. Currently it's the only CNC machine I have. I did have a Boss 5 that I traded off and used the funds to purchase this one. Wasn't working at the time, but I spent a lot of time up in the head section up there. Got the transmission to finally start shifting, and so I just don't need it for many things right now. Too many other things take up your time. Has anybody ever used this stuff? It's machinable wax. You can prototype parts with it. It cuts very nicely. And then you pick up all the chips and you melt them back into a stick or something again, and you can reuse it over and over. I've got one part that I'm kind of prototyping, and I don't want to use aluminum for it until I'm ready. So that's a good way to save material. Well, there's something. Put all my straight edges up here. Turn the heater off. Two of those aren't finished, and one of them isn't mine. The M one on the end is one Richard gave me this year, and it's got a double angle, and I just haven't had time to work with it. It's all painted and ready to go, though. The first 24-inch is Don's. It's painted and planed, and you just got to get over here and scrape it. But he's such a good needler that I think he should continue that before he gets to this straight edge. Don't you? Oh, I like these cobalt boxes. As you can see, I kind of collect them. I like them better than the Kennedy. There's a nice buy. Machine shop went out of business in town, and I bought 4 of these boxes. And got everything from letter drills to taps with their fractional. I got 2 of those because I already had one. And then end mills, and then number drills. The good thing about this was they were full of drills. They were full of end mills. It's just, I think I paid $100 for all 4 of them. Whereas I had a little bag of drills the other day that I brought in here. Was $130 and wouldn't even fill up one drawer. Those are all some taps I bought. Same place. Got enough taps to last me forever. There's the back end of the CNC machine. Electrics are in that cabinet right there. Coolant pump and everything's down on the bottom. It's a nice machine. Just need time to play with it some more. I'll tell you about my antique planer. Actually, this is one that's, I consider, one of the most modern planers there is. This is a 1943 Rockford Machine Tool Company hydraulic planer. This bed will do a 92-inch cut, 32 inches wide and about 30 inches tall, or a little bit over that. Set on a base down here. Those are the ways. This bed slides back and forth, and the tool stays fixed in position. You've got a nice table for doing setups on. And what I use it a lot for is cast iron straight edges. This one's been planed. Both edges are ready to go to the owner. Get it out of here. It was the straight edge from hell. I think the only modern thing I've done to this planer is put a digital readout on the head so I can get down at least to the thousandths. That's its original dial up there. Kind of hard to go to thousandths on that. She's running good. Up there is a motor that raises the column up and down, and it also serves as a rapids feed for the heads. This is the one head on this arm, and there's another one right there that you can use to plane sideways. So far, I like doing everything on the top head. It just seems a little bit more accurate. When you're shooting for 4,000ths, or excuse me, when you're shooting for accuracy under a thousandths, over 4 or 5 feet, it's kind of tough to do. So you look for every little edge you can get. Those are some cartridges I'm going to put on this bed. This is the power pack for it. And in the middle right here is another pump that feeds oil to this bed. And it has a tank reservoir back down under here. And its own filter system. Right there. There's the filter for the main pump. Look at those lines. That top one's a 2-inch line, the bottom's a 2.5-inch return line. The tank is on the bottom. It holds about 55 to 60 gallons of oil. This is the hydraulic piston for it. It's a double acting cylinder. And it ends about right here. And then the rod sticks all the way out and is captured by that big bolt right there. See if you can see it. I had to put new seals in it last year, but so far she's running good. Get my finger out of your way. I'm sorry. Takes a 20 horsepower rotary phase converter to run this thing. That's its control box up there. I got the motor sticking outside in a doghouse. A lot less noise. It's an old AccuFinish Series 2 diamond machine. It works really nice. I can really put a good edge on these blades. Well, I think that's about it in this room. About out here. This is a very old grinder that I've repurposed into a YouTube battery charging station. It's got a plug right there, so it's the handiest place to put them all. Didn't realize these videos take so much battery power. In fact, I've gone to these big batteries for my main cameras. Some more. This is a vise that my high school shop teacher gave me a long time ago, about 45 years ago. Been dragging it around ever since. That's my new mag drill that tries to eat me every once in a while. Well, got all kinds of junk back here. You know, you always have leftover material when you're doing big commercial jobs. I'll show you in a minute. I got a place to put it now. This is my old DoAll. This is a contour machine. It has a hydraulic table that is driven by pistons and a hydraulic pump. It'll feed about 18 inches. The blade will come all the way down this channel out to here. And it's got a table where you bolt your equipment or your cutting piece down. It's very, very useful. Still has its blade welder. Use it all the time. This one is a contour saw and has a hydraulic table tilt. As the table is moving, cutting, you can actually tilt it from this way as you're cutting, sort of like an old ship saw. Got a 3-speed gearbox. Oh, this is the coolest thing on this. These DoAlls have a speed and feed chart. And what I love is right down there. Slate, marble, and meteorites. If anybody has a meteorite they'd like to sacrifice to the cause, just send it to me. We've got some more old antiques running around here. This one's pretty new. Just waiting its turn to be rebuilt. This came out of a shop down in Galveston, Texas. Man down near the coast bought it and took it to his shop for 20 years and was using it when I bought it. He had a motor just bolted to the concrete off to the side and was driving that belt on it. It's losing some of the filler. So I don't really know what I'm going to do. I want to take it down and paint it, but I'm afraid that if I needle it or sandblast it, a lot more will come off. Of course, that may be the best thing. This one doesn't have a belt up there to drive the feed. It's got totally gear system on it. Things there. Bottom part's sad. Down there they cut a hole in it for some reason, just bastardized the foot of it. Then they put that piece of steel along the outside and bolted it to it. It's probably broke under there. Probably going to have to re-pour the bearings in it, all Babbitt bearing. Nobody's ever going to steal this drill press. It is locked up securely, as you can see. This is neat in that you can raise the head up and down and it'll still keep its position in your workpiece. Of course, it looks like the table underneath has been drilled full of holes. So they covered it up with this piece of 1-inch plate. I don't know what to do about that. I'd like for it to be all original, but I'm afraid the bottom's too far gone. I talked to the guy at Windy Hill Foundry about casting a new one, and he said he didn't really get into that because it's just a lot of metal and it's very big and hard to do. So, who knows what its fate will be. Remember I was telling you about Andy's green Monarch 10E? Well, when Andy bought that machine and brought it over here, he said the only thing he wished it had was a taper attachment. So I got to looking around and I found this one for sale for $1,600. It's one of the old motor generator ones. Down on this end it's got, I think you could see it. It's got another motor and a generator to make the DC that powers the drive motor on this end, down in there. And they did it that way because they say it gives a better surface finish. Now, Now inside that little box right there is a 2-speed transmission. And when we got this thing, there was a wedge right here holding this lever over. And when my friend Bob from KC came down to tune up the motor for me, he spent 2 days going over this machine. I was planing off his Bridgeport in exchange for him going over this. He got it running really sweet, but it won't stay in gear all the time. And we opened up the box and we found that the gear like this inside was just cut all the way down to nothing. People not stopping the machine before they changed gears had just wore that down. Guys, I know the cost of not letting your machine stop now. That gear cost me $400 to have custom made by a machinist over on PM. He did a great job. He was actually doing 2 of them at once for another man. I haven't put it in the machine because I'm having a really hard time putting this beautiful piece of artwork into that old oily sump never to be seen again. Oh, this one's got a collet chuck on it right now, and it's air operated. It works really nice. Spindle seems great. It's holding oil. Everything's working as it should. There's a little slop in this handle, but I'm going to rebuild the handle. This seems to work okay, but they've messed up one of the screws on it. The only thing that is stopping this from being run every day is this shaft right here. For some reason, this is neutral right there. It's not a firm detent. And one day I was testing it and I hit that detent and didn't feel it and went into reverse. It's just too dangerous to use like this. One guy told me that the problem was inside this handle, and this gear right here was not being held in place by that little detent right there. But frankly, I feel another detent. I don't know what it is, but anyway, we're working on it. Got drawings and everything, just need to find time to finish it. And guess what? It's blue. Ugh. But there is good news. Don came over and was showing me his fancy needle scaler, and he gave me a demonstration, and it worked very nice. I'm figuring if I act dumb and get him to demonstrate it about 15 to 20 more times, he may have it finished by then. Wish me luck. This is just the back area. Parts washer and some sanding stuff. An old H-press. I used my Portapack ram on this. Sure beats cranking that handle up and down. What else is new? Well, that's new. I bought this before it went to the scrappers. I'm not really sure what spindle nose it is. An L something. I'm not up on the L's, I'm sorry. It's a nice 4-jaw. He's cleaned up and got good jaws on it. Doesn't look like it's ever been crashed. I bought it for a secret project, but I found some others that'll work better. So I hate to just mess this one up. If anybody needs it and can come get it, $100, I'll put it in your truck. Here's a new find this year. See if you can see that. Peter Wright. And I forgot how much it weighs, but there's the numbers to figure it out. look at the condition of this top. I mean, it's nice. Really nice. You got this from a horseshoe farrier that wasn't using it. Got to build me a stump for it. Don't know of anything else. Oh, the elephant in the room. This is an Axelson 16 by 30 made by the Axelson Manufacturing Company in Los Angeles, California. This one is really close, like 20 numbers away from my 16 that I used to own and Don now has. So that puts it in 1957, the last year that Axelson was in business. I believe it was Monarch that bought them and put them out of business because they were eating their lunch. Innovations like a 2-speed tailstock. Push it in and out and it changes the speed. This is a cross-feed stop lever. I got to go through all this thing in here. Nothing's moving exactly the way it should. Pulled out the oil level window and no oil came out. I did the same thing on this one. It's just got a little tiny crack in it and just dribble came out. All of them were painted over, so nobody could tell how much oil it was in there. I'm working on it. Working on the gears right now, getting the rust off of them. Got to get over here on this side. That half's done over there. This half I've got to do. I don't think I was getting enough ventilation the other day and started breathing too many diesel fumes. Now, this is the head for it. It was in bad shape. All the paint and filler was coming off. So, Don, close your ears. I got my needle gun out and I went to town on it. And now it's got 2 coats of paint that Don found, this marine grade oil-based paint. We really like it. And I love this color. See if that focuses there for you. I don't know if I was wearing my glasses, I could tell it was focused or not. Oh, I found it. There we go. It's a nice color. So this just needs the flange scraped and it'll be ready to go back on when I get that sumped out. I'm sucking the oil out, running diesel through it. There's the top arm off of it. What else have we got going on around here? Folks, my shop's an absolute disaster. I don't know where all these machines are going to end up. They need to go in a permanent location, but where that is, there's too many variables right now to tell you. Oh, that's new. Don and I got to welding up a rack system. I needed a handrail, and I always wanted a rack built into it. So we've got that one figured out where it's a double-sided. We're going to put a crane up there and then finish the handrails coming down the stairs. That's coming up. Then we can get rid of all this material that stands up around here. Some of it I got chained down so it won't fall, but most of it's just light. My table saw is underneath there. Got a bunch of old electronics I've taken out of some of my gate access equipment. This kind of stuff. Like my collection of shoes. I wear the same shoes all the time because they're really good, but I hate to throw them away because they're $200. So they get recycled into shop stuff. This one was from slime in the grass. Putting a sealant in my pond, and its stuff is so sticky, and I kept them around if I ever have to do it again. Horizontal surfaces are a big catch-all. Pretty soon we'll be able to get back on the cabinets and finish out all the cabinets in this room. Just need to make the faces for the bottom and the drawer covers and doors for the top. Now this was my little machine room from a long time ago. And you see all my machines have expanded. My 16 by 30 used to sit in this little hole. And it may be coming back there if I decide to save that machine. Got a little 18-inch surface grinder that works very well. And when the Cincinnati showed up, unfortunately made this surplus to my needs. This is a Bridgeport that was owned by a very good machinist friend in Navasota. Sadly, he's got Alzheimer's and had to close his business, so I bought it from him. He's a tool maker from way, way back. In fact, he showed me the photos and actual valves that go onto an Apollo 13 or the Apollo space suits for the astronauts for their cooling and heating. You see a picture of them, they're on the right breast of their suit. Little red and blue valve. I asked him what he made these tiny things on. He said it's 17-inch LeBlond. Well, this was in his shop. Kind of looks rough, but it's a Bridgeport with an X-axis feed. It's got some wear on it. The only thing mechanically wrong is it wouldn't go into low gear. So a man was coming to look at buying it, and so I was in here to see if I could get it out of gear, and I snapped the stupid handle off. But luckily it's a Bridgeport. And H&W has every part they ever made for these things. I went and looked it up online. And that shaft is a total of $34.57. But to get to it, you take the motor off the upper head. You come all the way down here to the bull gears. Well, if you're going to come that far, you might as well just replace everything up there. A rebuild kit's $240. So if the guy that's looking at it doesn't want it, I'm going to order up one of those and fix this one up. The spindle's really good. X-axis feed. Got rapids. Who knows, I might end up scraping it and it'll sell for big bucks. I wonder if Don could be talked into needling this one. There's something neat that H&W sells. You know, you see these Zerk fittings on all the Bridgeports, and 99 times when I get a hold of them, they're filled with grease because everybody thinks they're grease certs. They're not. They're oil. And the way I understand it, back in the days, grease that we have now is nothing like the grease they had. Their grease was oil, not a sticky substance that stayed had a real body to it. So H&W sells you little pumps. They fit on there, and you put in your whey oil in there. You can refill them, and you just push it, and that oils it. I think they're about 20 bucks. They're hard as heck to find on their website. You got to really dig. Goodbye. Well, I guess the only other antique in here except me is this baby. This is a B.F. Barnes Company, Rockford, Illinois, 26-inch drill. I bought this about 4 years ago, and unfortunately I sandblasted the table, and that's all I've done to it in all that time. Just too many other projects. So I'm looking for a good home for this one. This one had a motor on it at one time, and they built them a plate to hold the motor and drive down there. It seems to be in decent shape for all the bearings, so I don't think it needs a babbitt. You need a new belt. A belt goes between this pulley and these pulleys and drives the automatic down feed. This one did have 2-speed transmission up there, but that part is gone. Guess we could find some plans somewhere. It'd be pretty easy to make one. One of the things that really impressed me about this, it's got a counterweight in here, and they put holes in the castings. Like here, it cracked here. And someone somewhere welded this thing. And to me, that's a work of art. That's cast iron, folks. And they don't have any easy TIG weld rod. They welded that without cracking and just completely. Man, that's up to Brian Block standards. Anyway, I'm going to let it go down the road. I paid $300 for it. You give me $300 and I'll help load it on your truck. Hate to see it go to the scrapper, and it won't. It'll just sit around here forever. Bunch of old tool holders I got with the 20. They're not much good, but I'll keep them around for steel for little projects. God, this is a mess. Well, folks, that's the state of my shop in January of 2021. Before I go, there's one thing I'd like to say. A few months ago, I asked for people to subscribe. Now, you might notice that I don't beat you over the head about subscribing or ringing the bell or hitting the like button. I'm not in this for money. I do it for fun. So I was shocked at the level of new subscribers I've received, and I truly appreciate that. Today I looked, in the last 28 days we've had over 600 subscribers. It put me well over the 1,000 mark for being able to control the ads. And I've turned off every ad I can. And ones that I can't turn off, I've made skippable. So once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you very much for your support. I truly appreciate it. I also need a haircut bad. This isn't one of them Trump comb overs. It's just I haven't had a haircut in 4 months. Oh. I wonder if Don gives haircuts.